Welcome to A Course in Business Miracles. This is Heather Dominic, creator of BusinessMiracles.com and founder and leader of the highly sensitive entrepreneur movement. Join me today for some genuine practical assistance and a business-altering and life-changing experience, a business miracle. This is A Course in Business Miracles, episode number 69. HSE feature with Mindy Wagner. Welcome to this Business Miracles HSE feature episode. I am just so thrilled to be featuring Mindy Wagner as a member of the Business Miracles community and as a successful, highly sensitive entrepreneur. Mindy, aside from being a valued member of the Business Miracles community, was born and educated in New York City, is the founder and principal designer at Mindy Wagner Interior Design Feng Shui, with an office and studio in Ashton, Maryland. Since 1983, Mindy has been known as a designer of excellence, focused on luxury interior design and art consulting for both corporations and individuals. In addition, she is certified in Feng Shui for real estate. Her work is both aesthetically and energetically pleasing. Her studio is located in the greater Washington, D.C. area, and she serves clients there and in all parts of the world. Mindy is also an artist and a published author. Her articles are published in Be Well magazine and Living at the Hill. She is a contributing author to the book You Are Whole, Perfect, and Complete Just As You Are, which includes her artwork on the cover. Mindy teaches workshops and is a guest speaker on the art of Feng Shui, decluttering, and creating sacred spaces. She is available for speaking engagements, webinars, and podcasts. You will want to listen in as I talk with Mindy about how she went from having an overloaded schedule with too many clients at rates that were too low to now working with one or two ideal clients with much higher rates and more time to truly share her gifts and talents. It is such an honor to be a part of Mindy's HSE journey, and I'm just so pleased to be sharing this episode with you today. Mindy, welcome to the Business Miracles podcast.
Thank you, Heather. I'm so pleased to be here.
I am really looking forward to this conversation. I just so appreciate you and the work that you do in the world as a highly sensitive entrepreneur. And I'm really just excited to have this time together to dive a little bit more deeply into your story and for you to share about the success that you have been creating as an HSE. So I know that you are, of course, in the Business Miracles core mentoring program, and that you and I have been connected since 2016, and that you've been a member of the Business Miracles community and in your mentoring program since 2017. So I would love for you to share just a little bit more about how you and I first connected, and specifically about through that connection, what it was like for you to discover that you're a highly sensitive entrepreneur.
Awesome. Yes. So Heather, you and I first connected in 2016 at a one-day workshop in Rockville, Maryland. I was invited by the then director of a networking group I was in, E-Women's Networking. The director was one of your members, Stephanie Bonte-Lebert. And she handpicked several people, more than several people that she knew from the E-Women chapter that she probably suspected were highly sensitives and, of course, didn't know it. And I was one of those people. And so I arrived at the hotel where you were giving a half-day presentation, and I think I sat next to you, and there's just something immediately I felt like, this is for me. This is speaking to me. This is who I am. Oh my goodness.
Yes, yes. I remember that day very, very well. That was a powerful group and a powerful time together. And it's really been so fantastic to be connected with you since that day. And I would love for you to then share a little bit about, what you've noticed in terms of the difference that has happened for you and your business since that time when you and I first met, and especially being a part of the Business Miracles community with other highly sensitive entrepreneurs. What has changed for you?
Oh, this is such a great question and so much to say. Absolutely. I took action during that presentation that you made. You invited us, anybody, even if we weren't in the program at that point, to your spring training retreat in 2016. And I'd have to say that was the beginning for me. I came to the training retreat and I didn't have the program yet under my belt. But just being in the room with all those beautiful, highly sensitive entrepreneurs, I didn't even know half of what they were talking about, but I felt this transformation immediately. So that was part one, that I knew that I had to shed a lot of my shadows to get into my strengths.
Yes, I remember that training retreat. I remember that because you were actually you were like the last group that I ever allowed to attend a training retreat without being in a mentoring program. And the only reason I had done that was because that you were, recommended by Stephanie Bonte-Lebert, as you've already mentioned. And I also remember that training retreat so well because that was when I really first introduced the top HSE shadows and top HSE strengths. Yeah. And I remember the impact that it had. That was in 2016. And I remember the impact, that it had in the room, but I also remember, the impact that it had on you in the room, particularly at that training retreat as well.
Yes. And absolutely. It was so big. And what it leads me to say next is that I had been running my business for over 30 years at that point. And yet I was a hot mess. I mean, I had all the talent, the creativity, but I was having such difficulty with a client that was not aligned with me.
Yes, that's exactly what I remember from that retreat. Yes.
And I was literally sick to my stomach all the time over an episode that had occurred right before the training retreat. And as a bonus, you coached me afterwards, after the retreat was over. And it really was an incident that now I can use your words. It didn't happen to me. It happened for me.
Right.
To have such great difficulty with a client all around money, all around the fact that I had no good boundaries, no proper boundaries. And so when I finally embraced the program and entered the 6-month program in 2017, for me, that was the beginning of my stability, as I would call it, that I had a shape.
Oh, I love that. Yes, I love that.
I feel now that I've been in the program 2 years or more, is that I have this unshakable stability that I feel like I know exactly the underpinnings of, how to write my program, how to charge, how to talk through resistance, how to understand who is aligned with me and who is not. And that allows me when I do connect with an ideal client who is a version of me, absolutely, that I can have fun I can actually enjoy being myself rather than straining.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I have chills, and I appreciate so much about this because, to reuse your words, the experience of going from, feeling like a hot mess to that sense of stability, that just speaks so strongly to everything that we're about at A Course in Business Miracles and the mentoring that we provide for highly sensitive entrepreneurs. And I know as others are listening, they're resonating because that's such that experience of just feeling like everything is such a mess is such a common experience for so many of us HSEs. So again, it's so powerful for you to speak about stability and that you really have been able to create that. And what's so interesting also that you shared, being self-employed for 30 years and that you had the talent and you had the creativity, but now with the stability, that creativity and that talent, which you very much do possess, is able to allow you to actually have fun rather than feeling like you have to sacrifice the talent and creativity because of the messiness, right? So I just so appreciate the way that you've spoken to this. It's beautiful.
I also want to add now that when I have potential clients wanting to interview me, they then tell me afterwards that they have the feeling that they're in really good hands.
Wow. Wow.
Because when I do interior design and we do renovation work and remodeling work, plus the feng shui, when we do that, we got our hands on someone's home or their office. We're making transformations, physical shifts and transformations. Right. There's money involved, and if there isn't a sense that they can trust me, then there's always issues that come up. But when they feel they're in good hands, which I'm conveying through my energy, then they just allow the process much better than before.
And yes, and what a difference from that client that you spoke about at your original first training retreat, right? Night and day.
Exactly, night and day. And there's the other thing that I would say from being mentored and being in the community, I noticed right away that some of my fellow colleagues, my fellow HSEs in your program, that they were all giving workshops and talks. And I never considered myself somebody that would lead a workshop that people would pay money to come to. But I decided as a way of offline in-person marketing that I would try giving a workshop at a wellness center that I knew. And it was such a big hit that now, since that first time, I've done 4 major workshops, and they're very popular. I'm giving another one in October. And I'm amazed at myself.
Yes, I love this.
I'm amazed at myself.
I remember the training retreat, which was not your first training retreat. I think it was last fall when you first spoke up and shared about giving these workshops and how successful they really were for you from the get-go. And it's such a beautiful expansion, of the work and the talent that you express as a designer. It just makes sense as you allowed yourself to go from the messiness to the stability that you're then positioned to be able to turn around and support and teach others as well. So it's just really such a beautiful, example and demonstration of the work that you've been doing, the real work, as I like to say, within the Business Miracles mentoring programs. It's really, really beautiful, Mindy.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Beautiful. And so how would you say that, this transformation that you have been experiencing, how would you say that it specifically impacted your business growth? And particularly, I know that you've made some changes, with your rates and the type of projects that you've taken on. So I'd love for you to speak about, that part of your journey as well.
That's a great question, too. I struggled with it for a little while as I was developing my program guide, which after all these years in business, I really didn't have a program guide, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. I followed the directions in your program and created one, and I kept working on it. I was never satisfied because I wasn't comfortable with raising my rates up where they should be. So I worked with that within myself and finally got to a happy place. So what has transpired is when I interview with a client and I then give them my program guide and they can see my rates, I'm finding that people want to go with the bigger programs that I offer, that I don't have to worry that I'm charging too much. They just read it and say, yes, this is what I feel is right for me. And so that way, also, I know I'm stumbling around with my words a little bit here, but I've discovered it's better for me and the kind of personality I have, the kind of energy I have, to work with fewer clients.
Yes.
I used to try to load up my schedule and have like 5 clients a month, and they were at lower rates, and it was a lot of work, and I would have difficulty getting it all organized. Now I'm working with 1 or 2 much larger programs, very satisfying because I can do so much and I can see the results, and it's just flowing.
Yes, this is so gorgeous, so beautiful. I so appreciate that you're speaking to this because, a big part of my teachings, and definitely as of recently, is how important it is for each highly sensitive entrepreneur to create a business designed to really serve and support who they are as an individual and what their needs are. And not every HSE is meant to be working with as many clients as possible. There are many HSEs, such as yourself, as you so beautifully just described, really make the conscious choice to work with a smaller number of clients on larger programs or packages or projects that are more lucrative. And you've beautifully done the inner work and continue to do the inner work, as you shared, so that you can set the rates to have both the satisfaction of the time and energy in regards to number of clients that works for you, while also matching the income level that works for you. And again, it's going to look different for every HSE, and the process and the empowerment to learn what that is for yourself and then to be able to design it is really, really significant. So I love that you spoke to that. And I love that you've created this for yourself and continue to do so.
Yes. I really look forward to seeing what's next. But I'm not worried about it. And I used to sit and worry. I was like the capital W worrier. But not.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I mean, that's so beautiful too, because as highly sensitive, we can kind of be experts in worrying. So to be able to shift that, I mean, my gosh, that changes everything. That's really the peaceful aspect of the process of creating prosperity. And so along those lines, what teaching would you say, if there's one or maybe more than one that, I've created as part of the Business Miracles curriculum that you would say has impacted you the most to be able to create the successes that we've been speaking about?
Well, there's more than one. It would be, I couldn't say there was just one, but I'd say there's a few that really are my favorites and that I've really done the work with them, and I will hold on to them forever. The energy management piece, I've discovered that for me, that I found that doing the energy management technique of scripting is probably my number one tool, that I write out every day, sometimes more than once a day, what I want to happen, what I see happening, and I write it in the present. I am today, and then go on saying what I want. And that has really helped me to create it, to make it happen, to somehow it happens, and also to not worry about it, because I've put down what I would do want to happen. I also am fond of the automatic writing. Sometimes it comes through beautifully. Sometimes I don't get much, but I pose the questions, and at least I'm communicating with my higher power. I'm communicating. So the energy management for sure. And then back to when I first started in the 6-month program, literally keeping the calendar, having time in, time off. I had a crazy, I never had any organization to my month or to my week. It just happened to me. Now I decide, I'm working so many days in, I'm working I'm off, I'm on, and just putting a shape. For a designer, we like shapes. So just putting a shape, it really makes a huge difference to what, again, back to that word stability. So having that container of my 30-day plan and how I'm going to organize my month is a very big tool that has changed my business a lot.
Oh, that's so awesome. So awesome, because, what you're really speaking to is one of the core foundations, and then therefore one of the core foundational principle trainings that I teach, which is, as highly sensitives, we can just, be so used to just trying to defend against, energy and just trying to make our way through each day. And so much of the real work that we do together is to create a shift so that you don't feel like your life, your business, the world is happening to you, but instead you get to create it. And I really hear, that you've been able to use the tools to have that experience, both with the inner piece of the energy management and the outer piece when it comes to, working with the schedule, working with the 30-day plan as I teach it. And it makes all the difference because you use the magic word, container.
I want to add something, Heather. There's also accountability. Because being in the program, you offer a team of wonderful coaches, and we have a forum that we go on, is that if I'm not doing the work, I hear from the coaches. If I am doing the work, they find me and they ask me. They ask me good questions and bring me back to getting back into the work. And when I do the work, they're kind enough to really support me, that they hear I'm doing it, and they'll then offer another suggestion to keep me moving forward.
Well, that really touches my heart because, that really speaks to just everything that we are about, as a team. That accountability piece is so important, and we really do look to be able to, shift the typical highly sensitive experience of isolation, into one of community that has a strong level of accountability, has a strong level of celebration, and both, done with grace. So, I hear that as your experience. And again, my heart is full to hear that. I so appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And speaking of accountability, in addition to the coach team, there's the element of community. So, what would you say you have found most valuable about being a part of a community of highly sensitive entrepreneurs?
One of my favorite subjects. I feel I don't even have the right superlative words for this one. I began to notice, even at that first training retreat, before I was even in the program, that because there were people that were in the program and I was meeting them, not online, but live, there were people from all different countries, all different backgrounds, all different ages. There were people in their 20s. There were people of all ages up into my age in their 60s. And we were all vulnerable together. And it really made me feel that I had a community that was universal, that it was very impressive, and to see that some of my issues, as someone over 60, were some of the same issues as someone in their 20s. Yes. It was just so interesting to just see what other people were feeling and who they were and how they presented themselves. Plus, everyone was just so charming and magical. I could see their light, and it just made me feel a sense of home. And then then moving forward through the years, I've developed friendships, real friendships with people that are in the program, that are outside of just being in the program, and that's worth $1 million. And then just knowing that I can learn by listening to other people and being part, and that we're part of it, and that we're all growing in this together.
Yes. Yeah, really. So well said. And again, so much of the intention. And I really appreciate you speaking to, the age difference and the nationality difference, because all of that just really falls away. And especially, as you said, in person at our training retreats, because what really joins us is who we are as highly sensitives. And we're so used to being the odd person out in most areas of our lives and our experiences, that it's very, very powerful when we come together and we are in that aligned experience of community. So beautiful. So Mindy, what would you say, what advice would you have to give to other HSEs, who are listening? Maybe they're designers or they're creative of some sort, or maybe not, but they're feeling, a bit of that messiness that you spoke about earlier. What advice do you have to share with them?
Well, okay, good. My advice for other HSEs is, first of all, to acknowledge that you're having a hard time, and come out of hiding. It's okay. You don't have to pretend that you're all packaged up and perfect when you know you're not. And believe that you can get out of struggle and find your joy. You can, by being open and vulnerable to the teachings that are offered in this program. It's so unique that you won't be alone, and that you'll have a way to step out of that struggle, and you'll find that you can really start doing what you want to do without being afraid.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your V and V energy, visibility and vulnerability, your willingness to share here. It's such a pleasure to be able to have this opportunity to talk to you in this way. And I know it's going to be of such service to other HSEs who are tuning in and listening. And so, Mindy, where can highly sensitives find out about the success that you are creating in the world as a highly sensitive entrepreneur?
Oh, thank you for asking. So let's see. My website is www.mindywagner.com. And when you go to my website, you can see a description of what I do and some photography of my work. There's also a link on that website, mindywagner.com, that says as seen on houzz.com, HOUZZ.com. And you click that link and it'll take you to my professional page on that wonderful forum, houzz.com. And it shows you a lot more of my work and lots of testimonials and endorsements from my clients. I'm also on Facebook, Mindy Wagner Interior Design Feng Shui. And so I think those are some good places to find me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. And I definitely encourage and recommend everyone to go and to see the work that Mindy is doing, because first of all, again, she's so incredibly talented, and it's so important to really be able to really see, the success, again, that other highly sensitives are creating in the world as entrepreneurs, so that that you also have the ability to create in the same way. Mindy, again, thank you so much. And other than that, many, many blessings. Until next time.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you for all you do. Take care.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of A Course in Business Miracles. If you're ready to learn how to use your highly sensitive abilities to support you in being purposeful, profitable, and empowered rather than scattered, poor, and undervalued, take my free self-quiz to find out if you are indeed a highly sensitive entrepreneur. And if you are, along with your quiz results, you'll receive my free HSE Success Guide, which will teach you how to have your highly sensitive abilities working for you to create the results you desire in your business. Take the quiz and receive your free success guide now at www.hsequiz.com.